Chapter 3: How to Become Fluent in Quality Time. Love language number 2. Time may or may not be the most precious asset we possess. If you're scrambling to pay your mortgage or trying to figure out how to afford college, you can probably build a pretty solid case in favor of money. But time is unique among our commodities. Every day, every person who draws breath on this earth receives the same amount of time: 24 hours, 1,440 minutes, or 86,400 seconds, depending on which denomination you prefer. At the end of every day, every person's allotment is depleted. Time cannot be rolled over or stockpiled. When it's gone, it's gone. Time cannot be stolen or transferred into another account. Its market cannot be cornered. The rich cannot get richer. The rich cannot get richer where time is concerned. Its system cannot be gamed, hacked, or tampered with. Time cannot be exchanged or refunded. Time is extremely limited, yet insanely in demand. Think of the things that are competing for your time: your job, your overtime demands and opportunities, your commute, your workout, your responsibilities as a friend, neighbor, church member, and concerned citizen, your kids' practices, games, recitals, and programs, your hobbies and pastimes, your body's requirements for sleep and relaxation. So many options, so little time to explore them all. No one understands that truth better than a person whose primary love language is quality time. If you're married to a native quality time speaker, you should feel at least a little flattered. Your wife isn't looking for words of affirmation, or gifts, or acts of service. She just wants you. She will experience love and affection. She will feel genuinely cared for simply by sharing some of your precious time. A half hour here, an hour there, or a weekend on occasion is enough to keep her love tank filled, provided it's the right kind of time. The right kind of time. Quality is key. To call something quality is to set a high bar. A mechanic who does quality work doesn't cut corners on a brake job. He isn't distracted when he rebuilds a carburetor. He won't throw up his hands and walk away when he can't immediately pinpoint a rattle in the exhaust system. Someone who does quality work goes the extra mile, stays focused on the task at hand, and won't quit when things just don't go right. And so it is with spending quality time with your wife. When you give it, make sure it's the best you've got. Here's how. Deep focus. The key to becoming fluent in the quality time love language is establishing the right mindset. The key to establishing the right mindset is focused attention. Some husbands and wives think they're spending time together when in reality, they're only living in close proximity. Why does that sound funny? Proximity. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all sitting next to each other, okay? They're in the same house at the same time, but they're not together. A husband. Okay, period. Y'all know what I'm talking about. A husband who is texting with while his wife tries to talk to him isn't giving her quality time because she doesn't have his full attention. That's not to say quality time means spending your together moments gazing into each other's eyes. It means doing something together and giving your full attention to each other. The activity in which you're both engaged is incidental. The important thing emotionally is that you're spending focused time in each other's company. The activity is the vehicle that creates the sense of togetherness. a husband and wife playing tennis together, if it's genuine quality time, will focus not on the game, but the fact that they're spending time together. What happens on the emotional level is what matters. Spending time together in a common pursuit communicates that you care about each other, that you enjoy being with each other, that you like doing things together. Putting the quality in conversation. Like words of affirmation, the language of quality time has many dialects. One of the most common dialects is quality conversation. That is, a genuine dialect in which you share experiences, thoughts, feelings, and desires in a friendly, uninterrupted context. To engage in quality conversation is to say, I will focus on drawing you out. I will listen sympathetically to what you have said. I will ask questions, not in a badgering manner, but with the real desire to understand you. Most people who complain that their spouses don't talk don't mean literally that their spouses never say a word. They mean their spouse seldom takes part in sympathetic dialect. If your wife's primary love language is quality time, such dialogue is crucial to her emotional sense of being loved. I met Patrick when he was 43 and had been married for 17 years. I remember him because his first words were so dramatic. He sat in the leather chair in my office. After briefly introducing himself, he leaned forward and said with great emotion, Dr. Chapman, I have been a fool, a real fool. What led you to that conclusion? I said. I've been married for 17 years, he said, and my wife has left me. Now I realize what a fool I've been. I rephrased my original question. In what way have you been a fool? My wife would come home from work and tell me about the problems in her office, he explained. I would listen to her and then tell her what I thought she should do. I always gave her advice. I told her that she had to confront the problem. Problems don't go away. You have to talk with people involved or your supervisor. You have to deal with problems. The next day she would come home from work and tell me about the same problems. I would ask her if she did what I suggested the day before. She would shake her head and say no. So I'd repeat my advice. I told her that was the way to deal with the situation. She would come home the next day and tell me about the same problems. Again, I would ask her if she had done what I suggested. She would shake her head and say no. After 3 or 4 nights of that, I got angry. I told her not to expect any sympathy from me if she wasn't willing to take the advice I was giving her. She didn't have to live under that kind of stress and pressure. She could solve the problem if she would simply do what I told her. It hurt me to see her living under such stress because I knew she didn't have to. The next time she brought up the problem, I said, I don't want to hear about it. I've told you what you need to do. If you're not going to listen to my advice, I don't want to hear it. I withdrew and went about my business. Now I realized that she didn't want my advice when she told me about her struggles at work. She wanted sympathy. She wanted me to listen, to give her attention, to let her know that I could understand the hurt, the stress, the pressure. She wanted to know that I loved her and that I was with her. She didn't want advice. She just wanted to know that I understood. But I never tried to understand. I was too busy giving advice. And now she's gone. Why can't you see these things when you're going through them? He asked. I was blind to what was going on. Only now do I understand how I failed her. Patrick's wife had been pleading for quality conversation. Emotionally, She longed for him to focus attention on her by listening to her pain and frustration. Patrick wasn't focusing on listening, but on speaking. He listened only long enough to hear the problem and formulate a solution. He didn't listen long enough or well enough to hear her cry for support and understanding. Anyone care to cast the first stone here? The truth is, many of us are like Patrick. We are trained to analyze problems and create solutions. We lose sight of the fact that marriage is a relationship, not a project to be completed or a problem to be solved. A relationship calls for sympathetic listening with a view to understanding the person's thoughts, feelings, and desires. We may give advice, but only when it's requested and never in a condescending manner. Most of us have little training in listening. We're far more proficient in thinking and speaking. That lack of training will be hard to hide if your wife's primary love language is quality time and her dialect is quality conversation. Fortunately, listening is a skill that can be acquired fairly quickly, though it takes years to master. Here are some practical tips to get you started. Number 1. Maintain eye contact when your wife is talking. That keeps your mind from wandering and communicates that she has your full attention. Number 2. Don't listen to your wife and do something else at the same time. Remember, quality time is giving someone your undivided attention. If you're doing something you can't turn from immediately, tell your wife the truth. A positive approach might be, I know you're trying to talk to me, and I'm interested, but I want to give you my full attention. I can't do that right now, but if you give me 10 minutes to finish this, I'll sit down and listen to you. Most wives will respect such a request. Number 3, listen for feelings. Ask yourself, what emotion is my wife experiencing? When you think you have the answer, confirm it. For example, it sounds to me like you're feeling disappointed because I forgot blank. That gives her a chance to clarify her feelings. It also communicates that you're listening intently to what she's saying. Number 4, observe body language. Clenched fists, trembling hands, tears, furrowed brows, and eye movement may give you clues as to what she's feeling. Sometimes body language speaks one message while words speak another. Ask for clarification to make sure to know what she's really thinking and feeling. And number 5, refuse to interrupt. If you give your undivided attention while your wife is talking, you will refrain from defending yourself, hurling accusations, or dogmatically stating your position. Your goal will be to discover your wife's thoughts and feelings. And look at this little picture. I'm going to read it and I'll show it to you. But basically, well, let me show it to you and then read it. You see the phone? It's a text message thread. Okay, I'm going to read one person's side like this, and then read the other person's side like this. Okay? Recent research has indicated, I don't trust research, that the average individual, average is for losers, listen for only 17 seconds. I once scored 2 goals in 17 seconds before interrupting. What's your point? Let me show it to you again.
So frustrating.
What? I got my laptop right there. If you want my laptop. My laptop. Okay. Open up. Quality conversation requires not only sympathetic listening, but also self-revelation. When a wife says, "I wish my husband would talk. I never know what he's feeling or thinking," she's pleading for intimacy. She wants to feel close to her husband, but how can she feel close to someone who's a silent mystery? In order for her to feel loved, he must learn to reveal himself. If her primary love language is quality time and her dialect is quality conversation, her emotional love tank will never be filled until he tells her his thoughts and feelings. Think of it in terms of a tennis game. If one person is doing everything, the result is simply ace after ace. What could be more boring or less engaging for either player? If, on the other hand, player 2 starts returning the serve, it's game on, back and forth. Each of you receiving what the other is offering, and then sending it back with your own spin on it. Before you know it, you find yourself in the middle of some long, satisfying volleys. If only quality conversation were as easy as returning a tennis serve. Self-revelation is a challenge for many guys. Some adults grew up in homes where the expression of thoughts and feelings were discouraged. To request a toy was to receive a lecture on the state of the family finances. The child went away feeling guilty for having the desire, and he quickly learned not to express his desires. When he expressed anger, the parents responded with harsh and condemning words. Thus, the child learned that expressing angry feelings isn't appropriate. If the child was made to feel guilty for expressing disappointment at, say, not being able to go to the store with his father, he learned to hold his disappointment inside. By the time we reach adulthood, many of us have learned to deny our feelings. We're no longer in touch with our emotional selves. A wife says to her husband, "How did you feel about what Steve did?" The husband responds, "I think he was wrong. He should have blanked." But he's not telling her his feelings. He's voicing his thoughts. Perhaps he has reason to feel angry, hurt, or disappointment. But he's lived so long in the world of thought that he doesn't acknowledge his feelings. If that describes you, then learning the language of quality conversation will be like learning a foreign language. The way to begin is to get in touch with your feelings, to become aware that you're an emotional creature, despite having denied that part of your life. The great first step is to keep track of the emotions you feel away from home. Carry a small notepad with you. 3 times each day, ask yourself, what emotions have I felt in the last 3 hours? Ask yourself specific questions. What did I feel on the way to work when the driver behind me was riding my bumper? What did I feel when I stopped at the gas station and the automatic pump didn't shut off and covered my side of the car with gas? What did I feel when I got to the office and found out the project I was working on had to be completed in 3 days when I thought I had 2 weeks? Write down your feelings in the notepad and a word or two to help you remember the event corresponding to the feeling. Your list may look like this: event, tailgater, feelings, angry. Event, gas station, feelings, very upset. Event, work project due in 3 days, feelings, frustrated and anxious. Do that exercise 3 times a day, and you'll start to develop an awareness of your emotional state. Using your notepad, communicate your emotions and the events that inspired them briefly to your wife as many days as possible. In a few weeks, you'll become comfortable expressing your emotions with her. Eventually, you'll feel comfortable discussing your emotions toward your wife, the children, and events that occur in your home. Remember, emotions themselves are neither good nor bad. They simply are a psychological response to the events of life. Top 5 things not found in quality time: texting/social media, TV, clock watching, board size, college buddy who wants to hang out. And it's a little picture, okay? It's a little Family Feud style. Do that exercise 3 times a day and you'll start to develop an awareness of your emotional nature. Using your notepad, communicate your emotions and, oh, I already read that part. Sorry. Quality activities. Another dialect of quality time is quality activities. At a recent marriage seminar, I asked couples to complete the following sentence. I feel most love when my husband/wife when blank. Here's the response of a 29-year-old husband who has been married for 8 years. I feel most loved by my wife when we do things together. Things I like to do and things she likes to do. We talk more. It sort of feels like we are dating again. That's a typical response of individuals whose primary love language is quality time. The emphasis is on being together, doing things together, giving each other undivided attention. Quality activities may include anything in which one or both of you have an interest. The emphasis is not on what you're doing, but on why you're doing it. The purpose is to experience something together. To have your wife walk away from it thinking, he cares about me. He was willing to do something with me that I enjoy, and he did it with a positive attitude. That is love. And for some people, it's love's loudest voice. Quality activities may include such things as putting in a garden, visiting Civil War battlefields, going to a concert, training for a 5K, or having another couple over for pizza and games. The possibilities are limited only by your interest and willingness to try new experiences. These are the essential aspects of a quality activity. At least one of you wants to do it. The other is willing to do it. Both of you know why you are doing it. That is, to express love by being together. One of the byproducts of quality activities is that they provide a memory bank from which to draw in the years ahead. You'll get to be one of those couples who remembers an early morning stroll along the coast, the spring they planted that flower garden, the time they got poison ivy chasing a rabbit through the woods, the night they attended their first major league baseball game together, the ski trip that got cut short by a broken leg suffered in the lodge, the amusement parks, the concerts, the cathedrals, the awe of standing beneath the waterfall after a 2-mile hike. Those are memories of love, especially for a person whose primary love language is quality time. Where do you find time for such activities, especially if you both have careers outside the home? You make time, just as you make time for lunch and dinner. Why? Because it's just as essential to your marriage as meals are to your health. Is it difficult? Does it take careful planning? Yes. Does it mean you have to give up some individual activities? Perhaps. Does it mean you do some things you don't particularly enjoy? Certainly. Is it worth it? Without a doubt. What's in it for you? The pleasure of living with a wife who feels loved and knowing that you've learned to speak her love language fluently. Quality time phase book. Congratulations on learning to speak the love language of quality time. Certainly, no one can be expected to master a new way of communicating overnight. For those times when you can't come up with the right idea, here are a few to consider. Respect the early bird or night owl tendencies of your wife. Plan your quality times according to her schedule. Set your alarm earlier or drink coffee to stay up later. Whatever it takes for her to feel your time together is special. Sacrifice something you love to create time to share with her. Give up a Saturday morning golf game. Drop out of the church basketball league for a season. Skip a non-essential business commitment. Doing this sends a powerful message that she matters more than these things. Make lists of our top 10 moments together as a couple. When you finish, compare your list to see how many of your favorite memories overlap. Many men need to unlearn inattentiveness. If you find it hard to devote full attention to any single thing, practice by listening to your kids when they're extra chatty. Pay close attention to the Sunday sermon from beginning to end, or listening to music without allowing your mind to wander. Some couples are together a lot more than others. If that's the case for you, don't try to make all your time together quality time. Designate specific times and places for planned togetherness. If your wife is the one who usually is pressed for time, perhaps you can occasionally do one or more of her dreaded time-consuming chores. Pay the bills, run the errands, put the kids to bed, and free her up some quality time. Find an activity you like to do that complements something your wife enjoys so that you can spend more time together. If she likes to go to the gym and you like to play computer games, you get little quality time together. But if you're willing to go to the gym with her or take up something new you can do together, such as geocaching or gourmet cooking, you'll add a new dimension to your relationship. If you're a couple who has moved beyond the newlywed stage, it's likely that much of your time and conversation is focused on life's mechanics. When does the dog go to the vet? Where is the window spray? How much should you pay for a new garbage disposal? Try monitoring your conversations in order to make sure all your time and talk isn't swallowed up by your to-do list. Surprise her with 2 tickets to a movie that you know she would particularly enjoy. Afterward, take her to dinner and ask her to share her review of the movie. If you're in the habit of praying as a couple, add a little time for togetherness. While you're spending quality time with God, spend quality time with each other. If your schedule permits, look for opportunities to take a snow day or a summer vacation day. Forget what you have planned to do and do anything spontaneously. Take turns selecting books to read. Designate pages or chapters to read individually on your own time, and then discuss the content during your quality time together, or read aloud to each other. Car tips tend to promote conversations between couples, so take a long drive. You might travel to a favorite restaurant 2 or 3 hours away, have lunch, and then drive back. If you run out of things to say, learn to enjoy silence together. Set a timer and agree not to say anything as you watch a sunset or walk through the woods. You have to do chores anyway, so why not make them a time for quality conversation? Share tasks like cleaning house and talk as you dust, mop, and put things away.